When will this nightmare end?
What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Oddly Reviews, and today we're going to review Marineford arc from One Piece. Now, this arc is considered Luffy's worst week ever. If you really think about it, how everything starts off here, because it's like over a span of 10 days where Luffy gets separated from his crew, lands on an island full of women, so you're like, okay, well, you know, all right, congrats, kudos to you, Luffy, but then finds out that his brother is in prison and set to be executed, so therefore he runs to a prison, gets poisoned, almost dies, get alive, get out, find out his brother's gone, go chase his brother, and then gets to the Marineford arc, which Whitebeard and his crew is there to stop the Marines from executing Ace. Now, this review is going to be a spoiler too, because also my reaction, so it's a spoiler for something that's happened for over, at this point, 15 years. If you have not watched this from One Piece, go watch it. A lot of people say this is one of One Piece's best arcs. A lot of people love this arc. A lot of people likes this arc. It's really one of the shows, one of the moments for me where, like, you watch a lot of anime, watch a lot of superhero, a lot of adventure shows where the protagonist doesn't really experience much. And up to this point, Luffy, yes, he has gotten in situations, him and his crew has gotten in situations where they managed to escape by the skin of their teeth, but they got out. Like, at first, One Piece, he's defeating people left and right. Yeah, he had some battle scars, but he didn't really struggle. Like, he didn't struggle against Arlong, he didn't struggle against Don Krieg. Like, he got out of place. The only person who really was an annoyance to him was Captain Smoker, but he got away from him. And then, you know, he fights Crocodile, loses Crocodile a few times, but finally overcomes Crocodile. Defeats Eneru because Eneru's lightning, Luffy's rubber, so no big deal. But then he fights Lucy, and Lucy kind of kicks his butt a few times, but Lucy ended up losing to Luffy. And then you fight Gecko Moria. And, like, he's getting out of these things, but, like, he's almost on the verge of death. Well, now death is, like, at his door, and Luffy is really got to figure out how to deal with this, because in this arc, a lot of things happen. A lot of stuff happened, actually. You get Hawkeye Mihawk's aura farming. For no reason. Pretty much just sitting there. Just looking all cool and everything and whatnot. And fights Luffy. That's cool. Luffy fights the Admiral. He actually goes against all three of them, and I ain't sure you can see in the background. It's one of my favorite things. Favorite moments of One Piece, where he takes on all three Admirals at once. Gets past them. He actually managed to save his brother, which is awesome. You get the One Piece is real.
The One Piece is real. Can we get much
message in this, and because Akinu used Talk No Jutsu, Luffy get to watch his brother die, and I felt like this show had an opportunity to end on a note that pretty much just showed Luffy screaming and crying. And actually, this is the one moment I would say the sub, because a lot of people like sub versus dub. I'm more of a dub person. I do not want to read every time I want to watch a big plot point. I will watch sub. I watch all Attack of Titan and sub, and I have no problem with that. But I do not want to read every single time, so sometimes I'll put it on dub and watch dub. And I watched this whole arc before in sub. Matter of fact, when it first got released, I was watching this weekly back in 2016 or 2015, whatever that time frame was. But then rewatching it in dub, and there's one thing I would say the sub hits, because both versions of One Piece hit. Luffy's scream. The voice actress for Luffy, when she does the scream that Luffy has when he realizes Ace is gone, he goes to shock, is so heart-wrenching and ear-screaming. You're like, oh my God. The dub doesn't hit it as hard, but the show left the moment. They could have done something that I'm going to do in this video so you can just see how it sounds. Because when it happens, you're like, oh. And there it is. Like, just the scream, and it showed because it said to be continued while the screaming is going on. That would have been, that left you there. Imagine watching this weekly. Imagine watching this weekly and that scream left you there, and you're just like, oh, that's horrible. Okay, so Luffy just lost his crew. He doesn't know they're alive or dead, to be honest. He just knows they're gone. He lost his crew, and then he just watched his brother get killed in front of him after going through all of this, after fighting everybody and their mom to get to his brother, fighting the 7 warlords of the sea, fighting the admirals to get to his brother. Yeah, he watched his brother dead in his face. So how did he get to this point? Because last time we left Luffy, he was on a ship coming to Marineford. And then all of a sudden he has one of the best entrances a protagonist can have in a battle that most shows don't do. I think this is one of the top ones in the book. Let's be honest. I am a One Piece fan, so I will say that. But this introduction of Luffy and the rest of the Imperial Down pirates showing up, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. So how does all happen? So the Marineford sent Goku and then was going to execute Ace. They're going to do a whole display so the world can see, everybody see that we execute the son of Goldie Roger, the son of Goldie Roger getting executed. We finally caught the man. We caught the person. And Ace has a little backstory as well. You get to learn more about him, and also have the fact that everybody just treated Ace like a piece of trash. He's the son of a demon. He is horrible. Ace resents Goldie Roger for this. Like, he legit hates his dad because he's getting treated like a piece of crap his whole life, which makes no sense. And then on top of that, Garp is being told to watch Ace on behalf of Goldie Roger. And Garp was like trying to tell Ace to become a Marine. Ace is like, nah, bump that. I'm going to be a pirate. Like, nobody treats me right. Everybody thinks I'm the son of a devil, the seed of a devil. No, and matter of fact, because his mom died at birth, but because she died, she was trying to protect him. She kept him in her belly way longer than she should have. I think it's like over 2 or 3 years, something like that. And then she finally gives birth to him at once she realizes it's safe. Crazy work. So she dies during birth. His dad is dead. Ace is like, has no family. And Garp is his only family. And Garp is like, all right, kid, here, be with this lady named Dan and go have fun with her. Like, what? And then he gets mad when he doesn't want to be a Marine. Garp, you didn't take care of him. Your own son, Monkey D. Dragon, you didn't take care of him either. Like, Dragon's a Marine who became a pirate, or not a pirate, a revolutionary, because you wasn't really there to tell your son the dangers of the world. But whatever. So then you have Ace, and then you let Ace go become a pirate too. Garp, you're not a good father figure. I am sorry. Anyway. So Ace, and you know what, imagine this. If Garp was there to teach Ace and to talk to Ace and actually give him some kind of, love and affection, maybe Ace wouldn't become a pirate. Maybe Ace wouldn't feel like he's a piece of crap because the rest of the world around him is giving him the Naruto moments where these people are disrespecting this little kid. This kid calling him a demon seed because Goldie Roger is his father. That's messed up. And I get it. Pirates in this world are not really considered good guys. Like, they're not, to be honest. Luffy is the exception to the rule. Like, most pirates do not actually do good things in their environment. So I get it. But when you find out Gold Roger's story, he hasn't done anything wrong. Unless we missed some stuff. But as of right now, he's not really doing anything wrong. He's just having fun on the high seas. So Ace kind of go through this journey, and then he meets Whitebeard because Whitebeard, Ace wanted to take down Whitebeard. That's for one. So Ace went looking for a fight to Whitebeard, and then he meets Whitebeard. Whitebeard's like, oh, this little punk kid here, join my crew kind of thing. I like your spark. I like the cut of your clothes here. Join our team. So Whitebeard brings Ace on, and Ace reluctantly joins, and Ace becomes a member of the Whitebeard Pirates over time, and he becomes Whitebeard's second in command. Good for him. I guess second commander, because first is Marco. He's number 1 commander, and then second commander is Ace. Good for him. So Whitebeard and the crew is going up to try to save Ace. Like, everybody's there. Everybody's on deck. All people 10 toes. Whitebeard just want to have a family. All his people are his crewmates, are his sons. He is the father. He just wants a big, giant family. Cool beans. They got to save his son, and they got to save their brother. Cool beans. Cool beans. So they're out here starting off, and then you get little oars, which we saw big oars on Thriller Bark, with little oars, the descendant of those beasts. I don't even call them beasts, it's not cool. It's the descendant of that species, the giants, the little, but they're not giants, they're oars. Anyway, he's a descendant of the species, and pretty much what it comes down to, the 7 warlords of the sea and the admirals take down little oars. Now, I didn't mention how we get this battlefield, because they're on water. The water gets frozen over. Whitebeard decided to make a giant tidal wave by using his earthquake powers to try to sink Marineford. Akiji was like, nah, Ice Age. And he freezes all the water and everything. And that lays the groundwork for this battlefield. It is a giant ice tundra. They're fighting on the water. And little oars goes and tries to save Ace. He gets close, but no cigar, because the 7 warlords of the sea and the Marines and the admirals take him down. Sad moment. Ace sees a friend dies in front of him. Very sad. Then out of the sky is Luffy. Luffy and the rest of the crew pop out of the sky. They cut one of the icebergs that they got caught in, cut it down, and they land on the battlefield. Crocodile shows up. Crocodile sees Whitebeard. Crocodile try to attack Whitebeard. Luffy said, nah, none of that. We ain't gonna do this here. Crocodile's like, but this is the guy who defeated me years ago and put me on this trajectory to become a warlord of the sea. Luffy, how dare you stop me? And Luffy's like, nah, this is Ace's friend. He's with us. We're gonna do this. But Luffy's like, hey, Whitebeard, you're a punk. I'm gonna become king of the pirates. Whitebeard's like, I like your style. Cool kid. All right, let's get Ace. So they all try to go get Ace. Luffy fights the 7 warlords of the sea one at a time. Luffy and the rest of the crew does it. Jinbei, Ivanka, Crocodile eventually gives up on his thing of trying to kill Whitebeard, because Whitebeard is stabbed by one of his own men. Squad. Okay, so this is where I start taking umbrage with this arc. Whitebeard, who has been very open to his people, open to his crewmates, very taking care of them bringing them in. He has a grand fleet like Luffy will get eventually in the series, like Ace had, or not Ace, like Shanks has. He has a grand fleet. His grand fleet shows up. One of his members' squad is lied to by the admirals. Akainu. He comes up to him and tells him, hey man, Whitebeard's playing you. He's in this whole thing. This Ace thing's all a ruse to kill as many pirates as possible. What's going to happen is Whitebeard's going to let Ace die, let the rest of the other pirates back here die, his little grand fleet, and then he's going to walk out, drink wine with Sengoku and call it a day. Squar's like, I never met you in my life, but Akinu, you seem to make a very great case. I should do something about this. Akinu's like, yeah, do something about this. And he's like, you know what? I will do something about this. Akinu's like, cool, do something about this. He's like, say less, I will. You don't have to tell me twice. So Squire shows up with Whitebeard, have a conversation with Whitebeard, like, hey, we respect you, we do all these things, we did this great stuff for us for all these years, and then stab the man in his abdomen. What in the blue heck? So I'm sitting here like, why did he do that? Why did he stab him? Like he's betraying him? And then Squire's like, no, Whitebeard's betraying all of us. He's gonna get us all killed. He's in it with the Navy and the Marines. And Whitebeard grabs him. And by the way, before that happens, Crocodile sees it and Crocodile loses his crap. He's like, well, this man is not the man who defeated me, because the man that defeated me would not ever let someone, no-name pirate, stab him. What the heck? Even was a sneak attack. And Marco's like, yeah, he's right. Kind of got a point. I think Whitebeard slipped down. He's kind of because Whitebeard been sick this whole time. Like he's sick. He's not a fresh young man. He's old and he is sick and he's like dying. So Whitebeard is on his leg anyway. He's in this battle, and when Squad did that, Whitebeard's like, you know what, man? You're a stupid son. I love you no less. Like you've been part of my crew. Yes, I know that Ace dad, Gold D. Roger, killed your father. I understand that. And I didn't tell you this, but you've been friends with Ace and Ace is your good pal. The fact that you decided to stab me over that, kind of bush league, but I get it. I kind of get it. And Squad's like, oh my God, I made a mistake. How could I? And when Whitebeard's like, well, you know what? Since they're going to turn my own people against me, I kind of square up. I'm jumping the battlefield. So Whitebeard now is on the battlefield. Him and Luffy and the rest of the group are all trying to get to Ace. Luffy crashes out because his body can't get through it anymore. And Ivanka decides to heal Luffy one more time to get Luffy an extra boost, taking more years off his life. The Marines are pretty much like, you know what, we're going to sink the pirates. So they're attacking the pirates left and right. Akainu is using his earth magma thing to burn up the ice. Everything's hot. Eventually, they found a hole, which is little oars. When he fell trying to catch Ace, he landed on one of the gates that pretty much stopped the cannons from coming up and left the entryway for the pirates. So the pirates all getting there, they're fighting their way through. And at one point, Jinbei grabs Luffy and throws him with a log over the barrier and lands in front of the three admirals, and Luffy goes on a one-on-one attack with them. Pretty cool scene. He throws the log. The admirals really protect themselves. Luffy's doing Gang's jet stamp, and it's a cool moment. And eventually, all the pirates get there. They get around this. They start fighting the admirals. Marco and them, everybody's doing their thing. Cool beans. And then eventually, Luffy managed to make his way up to the top of the chopping board where Ace is at. He knocks his grandpa out. Garp shows up, gets one punch by Luffy. Sorry, Garp, like you should have stood up better. Which is funny because when you actually see Garp throw hands, it's like, yeah, he was not 100% in this, which makes sense. His grandsons are about to die, so why would he try to be like, I'm going to fight my grandson on the Navy's half? Like, Garp is not really a malevolent, is that the word? Malevolent. He's not really an evil person, pretty much. Malevolent is the word I think I'm looking for. But he understands what his job and duty is. And Sengoku's like, look, Garp, are you going to stick to duty or are you going to stick to your heart? Because you stick to your heart, I'm going to get rid of you. Stick to duty. Hey, man, your country appreciates you. So Luffy finally gets to Ace, but he doesn't have the key. Sengoku shows up, tries to crush him. But there is a savior in this. The savior in this is number 3. Mr. 3 from Baroque Works is there, and he, not only saves Ace and Luffy, he gives the key to Luffy to free Ace, and Ace is free. Oh yeah, so now Ace and Luffy are teaming up together. They're fighting out everybody. They're trying to get out of here now. Oh, mind you, before we even got to that part, I forgot to mention that Luffy does use Conqueror Haki at one point because they want to start the execution early. Luffy said, heck no, he Conqueror Haki, stop everybody, knocks the guys down who are going to try to do the execution. And they had to get 2 more people to get up there, and one of the other person to get up there to complete the execution was Mr. 3, who knocked out a guard to take his clothes to get to the chopping block because he wanted to be pretty much a good person. He wanted to help out Luffy. Good for him. Mind you, Mr. 3 and Buggy the Clown are there. Buggy has been off recording everything that's going on, so the rest of the world's seeing what's happening. The rest of the world's seeing the fight, seeing the war, and all that good stuff. So that's what Buggy's doing, and he's more and more filling upwards as he's creating the narrative for him that be somebody who is a guy who can be the people's man and also be a coward at the same time. But that's a whole nother story for a different day. Buggy the Clown, the biggest mess up, fell upwards. I never seen somebody fell upwards like Buggy the Clown has. He has 1000% do that, and he does it in this arc as well. You start seeing the seeds for it. But Mr. 3 does become the one big key piece in this story, which, you know, good job for Oda for always using his characters, not just letting them sit on the sidelines, because Mr. 3 could be one of those characters that sit in the sidelines you do not give 2 craps about, but his wax fruit does come in handy. They free Ace. Sengoku's like, what the heck? All right, let me try to do something. Whitebeard steps up like, nah, we ain't doing all that. Ace and Luffy are getting out the place. Marco can't do much now because he got the sea crimson stones on him, so he's trying to get free from that. So he's kind of like in a horrible state right now. Jinbei's kind of there with them, watching everything. Ivanka's there with them. They're trying to get out of Dodge. They're running away, and Akainu was like, "Yo, Ace, your dad's a baby back bitch. And I kind of, for some reasons, know that everybody in his crew will just fold immediately if you talk bad about Whitebeard. Because Ace said, no, we ain't doing this here. And Whitebeard and Akainu was like, yeah, we are doing this here. And Ace was like, no, we ain't doing this here. And Akainu was like, yeah, we are doing this here. And Ace was like, no, we're not. And Akainu was like, yeah, we kind of are. So your dad's a bitch. Toodaloo. And Ace was like, all right, bro, let's stir up. Like, bro, just walk away. Like, you didn't have to be a hothead here. So because of that, I kind of get the upper hand on Ace, but Ace kind of at one point is like, all right, cool. So you can burn me kind of thing. Your magma's, in fact, magma's higher than fire, so you can burn me. All right, logic, but whatever. So I kind of finally get around Ace, and Luffy drops his paper, this paper that I can't think, just lost the name of it right now, the blank paper that actually shows somebody's life force. He drops that, his Viva card. He drops the Viva card. He's going to go pick it up. And as he's going to pick it up, Akainu sees this and is like, look, me and you can go back and forth. Ace, your little brother over there, though, yeah, he can't. And I also been told by Sengoku, when we saw him use Conqueror Haki earlier, that he needs to die because he's a threat to the world government. Toodaloo, and he runs over, about to kill Luffy, and everybody's watching. Jinbei's watching this, Ivanka's watching this, Marco's watching this, the rest of the Whitebeard Prize are watching this. Nobody's jumping in as this man, like not one person with lightning speed gets over here, as this man about to kill Luffy except for Ace. He jumps back in it, and he gets hit in his back and get a killing death blow. Luffy sees this, Luffy's in shock. Ace is like, yeah, this one hurts. Luffy, I'm sorry, man. We could have kept running, but he talked no juice to me, and I fell for it. My bad. and my girlfriend asked, why didn't Jinbei jump in this? He's quick as well, and he also can stop fire for a little bit. Well, when Ace falls into Luffy's hand, Luffy goes into shock after screaming and crying. You know, fair enough. That man just watched his brother get killed in front of him after losing his crew for majority of the whole series, and majority of this part of the series for this 10 days. His worst week ever. Like, I'm just telling you, this man is worst week ever. I don't think Luffy had a worse week than this. Is going through it. He's crashing out. He is about to black out, and as he blacks out, Akainu's like, hey, 2-for-1 deal, and goes in it again. And Jinbei does step in this time and pretty much blocks Akainu. He blocks the hit with his hands. Yes, his hands are getting burnt, but he is doing good work here to allow everybody else to get Luffy and Ace out. Well, letting Ace just get Luffy out. And for the rest of it, editing Ali here, just jumping in the middle of this video, just to kind of give you guys a little more things I'm realizing as I'm editing the video. I'm noticing a couple of things. One, it wasn't Jinbei who saved Luffy after Luffy blacked out. It was actually Marco who came in with the save. Jinbei did jump between Akainu and Luffy. And also, sorry if I say Akainu or Akainu. I kind of switched between Akainu and Akainu. In this video, I mostly did Akainu, but I'm pretty sure sometimes when people say Akainu, even the narrator on the dub version says Akainu, so I do apologize for that. But either way, I'm going to say Akainu going forward here, and then back to the video, I'll be back to Akainu. So sorry for those who like, oh, he got it right, but he's saying it wrong, or he's saying it wrong, he got it right, whatever. I'm going on a tangent. Back to the video. So, okay. Marco actually saves Luffy the third time because Jinbei hopped in it the second time when Ace was standing and Luffy was still conscious. And then once Luffy blacked out, Marco came back and stopped Akainu from killing Jinbei. I don't think Jinbei was holding Luffy. So Jinbei, Luffy, and, well, Ace is dead, so Ace is gone. And then, of course, Whitebeard jumps in and takes on Akainu, or Akainu, as the fight continues on. Another thing, and I saw this after post, and once again, rewatching and editing, Mr. 3 was going to kill Ace. I didn't talk about that. Now, I think that's kind of wild. Mr. 3, so they're going to move the execution up early before Luffy used Conqueror Haki and knock out everybody. So they're going to move the execution up early, and good old Mr. 3 is the one with the sword going down to cut Ace's neck. Like, was he going to stop? I don't know. Luckily, Luffy knocked him out, so he wakes up, and Luffy's like, what are you doing here? And Mr. 3's like, well, I want to make a difference. I want to help and be of assistance. Cool beans. But why was he the one about to cut Ace's neck? Like, what? Why was he going to execute Ace? Why did he not stop the moment? Why? I get it. He's scared of king. He's going on orders, whatever the case may be. But not a moment he was like, it'd be the right time. When he says do it, I'm going to stop right at the moment and then stab the guy across me. No, he was legit going to execute Ace right there on the spot without a hesitation until Luffy used Conqueror Haki and knocked him out. I don't know what it was. He wasn't under hypnosis. He wasn't under anything. He legit was just going to do it, and it didn't make sense to me watching back, and nobody has ever explained this, and I am baffled, confused, and just sitting here with like, what the heck? And so we give praise to Mr. 3 for saving Ace, but at the same time, he was going to kill Ace. Make that make sense, please. Okay, back to the video. Sorry for the interruption. I kind of does get caught a little bit. But he tells the other admirals, Akiji and Kizaru, to go after Luffy. I kind of get caught up by Whitebeard. Whitebeard steps up and is like, hey man, you killed my son, you gotta die. So they go back and forth, and then Blackbeard shows up, and you're like, son of a gun, when will this nightmare end? So Blackbeard shows up. Blackbeard's like, Whitebeard, how's it going? And Whitebeard's like, teach, you motherfucker. And he's like, yeah. So how's it going? And then Blackbeard squares up the Whitebeard. They have a little back and forth. Sengoku's sitting here just kind of watching everything, he got in the battle a little bit, but he's not really doing much because Blackbeard is taking on Whitebeard, and Akainu's after Luffy, and Akiji's after Luffy, and Kizaru's after Luffy. They're all chasing Luffy down. Where everybody else got like playing hot potato with Luffy, trying to get Luffy out of Marineford because he needs help. He's on the verge of death right now. As we see, Blackbeard's taking on and going to blow with Whitebeard because Blackbeard has a whole bunch of pirates he stole from Impel Down as well as the jailer who is now a part of Blackbeard's crew. So we got that going on. Sengoku is like, what the heck is going on here? So Sengoku is kind of getting to the battlefield. They're kind of tiffing with the Blackbeard pirates. Really, Blackbeard and Whitebeard going at it. And Blackbeard managed to kill Whitebeard. But before Whitebeard died, he said the most infamous words that even internet YouTube has. The One Piece is real. And it sends shockwaves all throughout the land that the One Piece is still existing and that this treasure will flip the world on its head, on its shoulders, flip it upside down when somebody finds it and he dies standing up. Now, the cool thing about Whitebeard, he had like over 250 something stab wounds, 140 something gun wounds, 2 cannons in his two cannon fires, all these different things. No, 40 something, not 40 something cannon fires, half a hole, 2 holes in his chest. In the manga, his face is half blown off. All these things, but not one scar on his back. Remember, scars on the back is a swordsman's shame. He never took a scar on his back. Right on, never retreated. He died standing up. One of the most iconic deaths, to be honest. It's really iconic. Died standing up. And Blackbeard throws a tarp over Whitebeard and somehow gets his devil fruit, the quake fruit. So now Blackbeard has the dark fruit and the quake fruit. And he can now have 2 devil fruits at the same time. He can control both darkness, and control earthquakes and tremors. This man's bad news. Sengoku fights Blackbeard. Blackbeard and Sengoku's fighting. The rest of the crew of Blackbeard's fighting off the Marines and whatnot. And all I'm sitting here thinking is because they're chasing down Luffy. Akiji, Akainu, and Kizaru are chasing down Luffy. why aren't they helping Sengoku fight Blackbeard's pirates? Because that seems to be the bigger threat right here. I get Luffy could once again become a deadly threat to the world government because he can use Conqueror's Haki, but why are they not chasing? Why are they not stopping Blackbeard? Why are they going after Luffy? This whole time I'm sitting here watching, I'm like, doesn't make any sense. And now Akainu throughout this whole thing has been around in every single spot. Like, he was next to Whitebeard's crew at one point. He was stopping Marines from escaping. He was being all over the map. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, this dude's getting all over the place. But like, why not have the 7 Warlords of the Sea chase Luffy down and go take care of Teach? Because he's going to be a bigger threat. He has 2 devil fruits. They said, nah, we ain't doing that. We're getting rid of Luffy. Makes no sense. And they like Luffy is the son of Dragon. They mentioned that earlier, so they're like, well, there's going to be a bigger threat than the Whitebeard pirates. The Whitebeard pirates are pretty much done. Kobe sees all this. Kobe's like, nah, we can't have this. And gets in front of Akainu as he's about to make a final blow to Luffy, because when at one point they cut the broadcast on what was happening, the Marines was like, we can't show this to the world, cut the broadcast because people are dying, it's too brutal, it's a battlefield, we're murdering pirates, it's not a good look, cut the broadcast, cut the show, end it. And end it, they did. They cut the show, so a bunch of the supernovas, including Law and Kid, they was like, okay, we're not gonna be able to watch this from Sabaody, so let's go ahead and go over to Marineford and watch it. So Law shows up to save Luffy as they're trying to escape. Luffy does get stabbed in the chest. Jinbei gets stabbed in the heart, or not stabbed, but like shot through the heart and chest, because at one point Buggy had them in his hands, and Akainu jumps up and stabs him, like he powers through him. Buggy didn't get hit, or Buggy somehow gets him later, but at one point they get shot in the back and stomach and chest, and so Luffy's pretty much done. Like, he's dead, he's dying, and plus his body has finally collapsed to all the stuff he's been through. He's been through the worst, so he's done pretty much. He's also been poisoned, a bunch of other stuff. Like, he's been gone through it. Luffy has went through it, his worst week ever. Anyway, Law shows up. Law gets Luffy onto the submarine, and as Akainu is about to make the final blow, good old Kobe stands up and gets in the way. He gets in the way and he stops Akainu from making the final blow. And Akainu's like, move, Kobe. And Kobe's like, look, man, we can't keep doing this. He screams at everybody. He tells everybody to stop, by the way. And Kobe, throughout this arc, is having voices. He's hearing voices in his head like Randy Orton. So what he's hearing is his observation haki. He's unlocking haki and he's hearing people die left and right. And he's like, we can't keep doing this. We already won. What's more that needs to be done? Why you want to watch other people be killed? Why are we killing off Marines who have families and kids and wives? And they trying to go back to, why are we killing off these pirates who have families and kids and wives? What are they trying to go back to? We won. It's over. Cut the show. End it. And I kind of was like, yeah, man, thank you for this. Toodles. And tries to kill the man, and Shanks shows up. Shanks shows up and is like, good speech, Kobe, but this war is over. And everybody's like, well, Shanks pulled up. I guess it is time to end this war because I ain't beefing with Shanks. Are you beefing with Shanks? Blackbeard's like, I ain't beefing with Shanks. So they're like, all right, cool. We're all gonna go out of here. Toodles. I'm not sure why I'm saying toodles the word of this review, but they're pretty much done. The war is over, and Boa Hancock realizes, hey, I gotta get back to Luffy. So she kind of chases down the submarine that Law's in, finds Luffy, brings Luffy back to the Amazon Lily. Bunch of other pirates with Law pirate comes up there. Jinbei's there, and Luffy kind of gets treated, taken care of, and it kind of ends right there. Luffy's going through it about the realization that, you know, his brother is dead. His brother is gone. He's like, it's not a dream. It's reality. He's crying. Jinbei's listening to him as Luffy kind of goes into a backstory here with him and Ace. Other things that happen with this, Blackbeard has a crew, a bigger crew now. He has 2 devil fruits I mentioned earlier. Sengoku's like, yeah, we did it. We won the war. Shockwaves goes up the world. What happened in Whitebeard's death. Shanks takes Ace and Whitebeard to bury them. So good guy Shanks, right on. And we don't get in this arc But later on, you find that Kaido, the other great emperor, because there's 4 emperors. Yeah, they're dealing with Whitebeard. Shanks shows up, but Kaido was going to show up. And people say Kaido was going to show up to fight Whitebeard. I don't know how true that really is, because when you read, I'm caught up in One Piece, and when you read into One Piece, Kaido and Whitebeard was on the crew together. They was on Rox's crew together. I know I'm dropping some lore here. And they didn't really fight each other on the crew. They kind of like was like, I'm cool with you, you're cool with me, we're around each other, but we're cool together. I wonder, and this makes me wonder if Kaido was actually going to show up to help Whitebeard. I know he wanted to fight Whitebeard, but don't forget, Ace did meet Kaido at some point. And now I could be misreading that. I know Ace met Kaido's daughter, or Kaido's son, at one point. So I don't, and that's Odin. I don't know if Yamamoto or Odin, which one you prefer to call him by. I don't know if Ace met Kaido at that point, because for me, to be honest, Wano is kind of a blur for me. I watched it and seen parts of it. Anyway, I'm going down a rabbit hole. So I don't know all what Ace did there in Wano, but I know Ace was in Wano. I know he met Yamamoto. So he could have met Kaido, and Kaido could have been like, hey, I want to save Ace too, but also want to save Whitebeard, and then fight Whitebeard afterwards. Like, let's see who's really the best of the 4 emperors. Let's square up. Because remember, Kaido does want to die. He wants to die in battle, so maybe this is his way to do that. So he was going there, but Shanks stopped him, so whatever reason, and Kaido pretty much said, all right, cool, Shanks, do your thing. And then Shanks went off to Marineford and end the Marine War. So, cool beans. All right. But yeah, Shanks shows up. Shanks buries Ace. He buries Whitebeard. Give him a good death, a good burial. So good guy Shanks. And the Whitebeard parties are pretty much no more. Marco kind of takes the crew, and that's it for them. They don't really have much else to go off of. But then One Piece is one. Here's the thing about this arc. It's a really good arc. The negatives I have about this arc is definitely the pacing of it. It is paced in scenes that are just ridiculously long for no reason. I wanted to listen to Doflamingo's, like, the victor's rights history, that speech. And I had to go find it, and he starts it, and then it cuts to somebody else having a scene. I was like, I don't need this, and it cuts back to Doflamingo, and it shows a bunch of other things that he finally gives his speech, and I was like, why is it taking so long for him to deliver this speech? Mihawk shows up fighting Luffy. The dude, they show his arms, his leg, his sword, his hat, his pants, his shoes, his face before he finally attacks Luffy. He got the like grand entrance music, like we didn't see him at the beginning of this arc walk up and take a shot at Whitebeard. So to me, there's things in this arc that I'm like, the pacing of it is so long. We didn't have to show different screens, different angles of certain things. Squad stabbing Luffy, stabbing Whitebeard. We got that, and then it cuts to somebody else's reaction, keeps cutting, and then it cuts back to it. Cool. Why he's still there? Like, what's going on? Why does it take so long? Or when Luffy stops Crocodile from attacking Whitebeard, I didn't need to get a backstory of Alabasta. We already saw that just 20 episodes ago at Impelled Down. I didn't need a backstory for that. I also didn't need to see the backstory of Ace and Luffy again. I didn't need to see the backstory of Garp and Ace and Luffy having this reaction to each other again. I understand it's getting written out weekly, and I understand the manga is coming out weekly, so you needed space and buffer. You didn't want to throw a whole different arc into it like Bleach does. I always knock Bleach for that. When it comes to their filler, just cut the middle of a story and throw a whole 30-something filler episodes in. I get that. And I don't think there's a way that you could actually drag out the pacing on this, or maybe make some of the fights longer. If versus doing 5 different cutscenes, like Dragon Ball Z made fights longer. Dragon Ball Z added fights to their stuff to make it like longer, and also kind of keep the pacing. It didn't feel like you was watching the same scene 15 different times. Yes, granted, people will complain about the transformation took forever, but like Majin Buu versus Vegito, if you read the manga, Vegito immediately turns Super Saiyan 2. In the anime, he fights Majin Buu as base Vegito for like a good episode or two before he transformed into Super Saiyan Vegito. And I think you could have done the same thing here, like Doflamingo versus Crocodile, or Doflamingo or Crocodile versus Mihawk. They came across each other. Kuma versus Ivanka, you could have dragged that out a little bit more. Like, there's things in here you could have dragged out. Heck, Boa Hancock versus Smoker. I'm gonna call him the 4Kid's name, Chaser, but versus Smoker. And versus what the heck is going on here? You could actually make that into like a cool fight scene and give Smoker some more things to do. He's a sideline character in this. He's here, but he's sidelined. Like, he's one of the cooler characters in the series. He could have done something with him. Mihawk, he could have given him some more things to do. He fights the Rose guy for Whitebeard's crew, and he kind of just like have 1 or 2 slashes and that's it. Give him actual moments, like drag out some of these fights, and then when you finally get to, Luffy's getting to Ace, then you can have that moment where like, oh shoot, we got through all this, versus the pacing of it. I was legit sitting here kind of like, all right, they're going to get to this. They're going to get to this. They're going to get to this. I know it's going to happen. And just like, all right, I didn't need to see this recap again. I didn't need to see that screen again. I know it's going to happen. So, I don't know. That's the one thing I have my dislike regarding this anime, regarding this arc. Is just the pacing of it seemed to be dragged out. But those moments that hit, like when Ace dies, I didn't need to see Ace die 5 different angles to get the point and get the weight of it that, yes, he is dead. Yeah, it sucks. But there are different stuff they could have done to make it longer without having the same angle, getting shot 3 or 4 times to make the pacing, to make the show drag out a little bit longer, so that so Oda can finish writing certain arcs and certain panels for the next week's Shonen Jump release. So that's my only downfall when it comes to Marineford. But everything else, pure perfection. Some good writing here from Oda. Love it. Love it. And 2 or 3 more thoughts before I wrap this up. One, Ruthless One Day, that opening song, the soundtrack for this season, the opening credit for this season, really good. Good opener, good song. I love how the opener showed you all the characters are going to be a part of this and show what they're going to do. Like Kobe has a part of it, Garp, like everybody, all the big playmakers in this were in the opener. Nice work from them. Sengoku, I still look back on and think like we could have got more from Sengoku. He's kind of like a character that's there that like I know he's the big bad for this arc in a sense, or just the big antagonist, but I wish we could have got more for him to show that, okay, this is why he's the head of the Marines. That's why he's the head of the Marines, and we didn't really get that from him. And then also Ace, at the end of the day, this character has gotten so much love, but Ace really was there for like a drip into One Piece, especially nowadays when it's over 1,000 episodes, over 1,000 chapters, over 100 manga volumes. Ace is really like, if you did a story of Ace in One Piece, he could maybe be 40 chapters, maybe 10 episodes, like. And then the fillers, mind you, a filler, which is a good filler. In Alabasta, Ace stays with the crew in Alabasta, and he goes with them for like another 5 episodes, which great, because it flushes them out much more from his first introduction of getting hit with with Luffy and Smoker in Alabasta. He's getting hit there, but like they really flushes him out to me and give him more time and screen time, because they knew going into it like, this guy he only shows up in the manga to save Luffy and then dips. In the anime, he's there for like another 5 episodes. He's looking for Blackbeard, which is great. So he shows up and then he's part of the crew, so you get a little more attachment to him. But then from there, after that, you don't see Ace again until Blackbeard fights Ace and Water 7. And then from there, you hear that he's captured and Luffy's going to chase him down. And Luffy's chasing him. And then he dies. Like, if you just took only the Ace scenes, you might get 10 to 20 episodes of Ace in One Piece, which is a 1,000 episode series. So for somebody who is really there, his weight and his popularity is huge. He's kind of like Itachi in Naruto. The guy is there for a little bit of the series, but he has this huge following, this huge popularity. Ace is the same thing, and they bring back his devil fruit. And I guess if you already watched One Piece, you know who it is. It's Sabo, Luffy's other brother. So they bring him back and give the devil fruit to Luffy. But Ace is still a prominent picture of One Piece. Like, he's a driving factor for Luffy for while he's too weak and he doesn't want to be that weak again. So, yeah, that's just my thoughts on the end of it, my reaction to Marineford. What did you guys think of Marineford? I'm going to go ahead and give it a grade before... Because my grade right now for Marineford, yes, granted, the pacing is still off. I got to give it an A. It's an A for me. It is some great work here, some great character moments. A lot of build up over time that actually pays off. Cool seeing Blackbeard, cool seeing Whitebeard, cool seeing Goku do a little bit. He didn't do enough. Finally get the third Admiral, which is Akainu. Like, because you already met Kizaru, you met Akiji a lot, like much longer ago. So it's finally see all the Admirals do the work and do good stuff. Finally see the 7 Warlords of the Sea come together and do good things. Doflamingo got a little something. You know, we don't know much Doflamingo really did. Like, he controlled people from what we're thinking. But it was good. It was a good arc, good work, and then it actually had consequences. Ace dying, Whitebeard dying. This sends ripples into the One Piece world and changes the landscape. There is now a hole in the four emperors. There's a hole there. It's only 3 right now. So it means somebody has to step in. Somebody else is going to become an emperor. Like, it is so much that goes on with this. Also, there's a hole in the 7 Warlords of the Sea. Like, Blackbeard's not a warlord anymore. He renounced when he's in this battle. He renounced working with the government. He's like, I'm not working with you guys anymore. I did what I need to do. I use you guys. I don't need y'all anymore. So the 7 Warlords of the Sea are now down to 6. So that is a big piece in this. Also, Doflamingo kills Gecko Moria at the end of it. And so that means there's 2 warlords that's open because Gecko Moria doesn't be needed by the world government. So Doflamingo does his job and takes out Gecko Moria. So there's a few things that happen in Marineford that shadows the rest of the world, but it's a great arc and great impact on the One Piece lore that without this arc, you cannot continue One Piece. You cannot read One Piece. This arc has so much impact and so much weight on the series that it's top notch. Good writing all around. Great job, Oda. I'm giving it an A. If you've seen Marineford, what did you think? Please put in the comment section below. Other than that, I know it's a long episode, but it's a long arc. But thank you guys so much. See you on the next episode of Ali Reviews, and keep being awesome. Thank you guys for making it to the end of this video. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. You can watch another episode of Ali Plays over here. You can watch another episode of Ali Reviews over there. Oh, by the way, I do have a Patreon, Patreon/Ali Zakka for $2 a month. You can get episodes out on there way before they come out on YouTube. And thank you guys once again, one more time. I don't think you understand how genuinely appreciative I am for you sticking to the end of this video. But please like, share, subscribe. We appreciate that. The show appreciates it. And see you next episode, and keep being awesome.